Thank you, everybody, for coming. We'll be having more people joining our meeting, but right now, welcome to our Mars project, our interactive workshop. Our first speaker tonight is Nehal Tanna. She's Toastmaster of the Year in 2000, Area Director in 2000 of the Year in 2019, and a Jedi Master. Nehal is a risk manager at the Bank of America headquarters in Charlotte, North Carolina. Joined Toastmasters in 2016 and achieved 2 DTM awards as of 2020. Please welcome Nehal Tanna.
Good evening, everyone. So show your hands if you think that meeting up virtually for any kind of club, including Toastmasters Club, has a greater impact on the membership or retaining the members. When I say greater impact, I meant to say it in not in a positive way. Anyone who has experienced it, no answer is a wrong answer. If you don't show your hands, you're going to pay money to listen to this presentation. So go ahead, turn on your video and show me your hands. Perfect. Today, I am going to share with you 3 golden secrets that help me as a mentor while chartering a new club from 5 people to 45 in 2 months. 5 people to 45 in just 2 months. And they were actually chartering the club, meaning that they didn't know what Toastmaster was, and it was very hard for them to digest or buy the concept, because while we were talking to them to have a new club, we immediately went into a virtual structure or virtual type of meeting, because that was the perfect time when the storm called pandemic hit and everything just changed. We had done a demo meeting to them, but then their actual meeting looked no similar to what the demo meeting was, because it wasn't in person. And I am an in-person person. So right now, ever since past 15 months, I have been spending 12 plus hours on technology, on my laptop, on the video. And that can be quite exhausting. Some people tell me, Nehal, you need Zoom diet, meaning that cut down on your Zoom calls or WebEx calls, because the whole time during the daytime for work, evening for Toastmaster presentation or other presentations that I do outside of Toastmasters, I am all the time on the go and on the screen. Sometimes it made me think or feel that being virtual, things change. It's so hard to continue to motivate people and do the same thing that we did as Toastmasters or as a team together while we were in person. But not anymore. As soon as I was able to try and use these techniques, and they actually worked, not only with my newly charter club, but also with my existing club in my district. And that worked in 2 of the districts. I'm a member of 2 districts, District 37 and District 117. So with that said, are you ready to know those 3 golden secrets? If you are, show me a reaction, show me a hand, show me a virtual clap, just show me some love, and I would share some really important secrets with you. Thank you so much. Here I go. Let me know if you guys can see my screen. Okay. Are you guys able to see my screen? Okay, looks like you guys are able to, and I'm going to quickly, okay. So 3 golden secrets to retain members in and outside of Toastmasters. I wanted to use the techniques that's universally acceptable, and that's a generic technique that you can use it in your book club, in your ladies club, when you have that ladies get together or ladies evening or ladies wine and chat. people get Zoom diet, people get a Zoom diet and very, very worn out, or you want to do it for your Toastmasters. So the very first secret that I would like to share with you is motivation. Now make a use of a chat and tell me how many of you have read a book called 5 Languages of Love. Make use of a chat and tell me how many people have read or partially read or heard about 5 Languages of Love. Nice. And you might be wondering, Nehal, I thought we were going to talk about retaining members, and you are talking about love languages? Are you sure you're on the right presentation or right page? Yes, I am. Just like 5 Languages of Love, I have 5 to 6 languages of motivation for you. What does that mean? Now, motivation, the word motivation can mean different thing to different people. For no 2 people, the definition of motivation is the same. For example, for some people, motivation means verbal or written praises. When you publicly praise people, that motivates them, that gives them energy. For some people, when you give them expensive gift, that is one of the motivation, and that keeps them going. For some people, it's public recognition, meaning not just a verbal or written praise, but publicly putting it out there how wonderful they are. For some people, it's giving more responsibilities that displays that the person who they're working with trusts their capabilities and trusts their skills. And that is my motivation language, more responsibilities. Or for some people, another language is promotion. Who doesn't like to get promotion? Promotion means bigger title, more money, better life. Not necessarily, money doesn't get you better life every time, but oh well, for some people it does. And for some people, it's visibility. Some people are the doers. They are on-hands worker and they can do as much work in the background and doesn't need any visibility on the front side. Some people, other people enjoy the visibility on the front end as well as on the back end. So these are a few of the motivation language. Depending on the individual that you are dealing with, you will need to find or learn the motivation language for you to be able to know what motivates them. Let's get a fact clear here. Anyone attending, especially a Toastmasters meeting, would definitely like to know what's in it for them. Why should I attend your club? Well, there are so many clubs. And other clubs meet on the time that's more convenient. Or maybe other club has more fun people. Or guess what? XYZ club has my best friend go there and she's a member. Why should I come to your club? Margaret, just because you are, you give me public recognition, do you think I should come to your club and attend those meetings? Possibly yes. Because if that is my motivation language, and Carol, Margaret, and Abhijit, who are part of the club members or the leadership committee, if they know my motivation language and they're able to identify and work around that, guess what? I am happy and I'm getting what I want because that's public recognition is in it for me, and I would be happy to attend your club. When you go ahead and find out what's the motivation language for which member, it not only gets you their attention, but also lets you learn what is their action, what are their desires, what is the need of that specific or those members, and if you can create opportunities for them, if you can provide opportunities for them depending on their motivation language, or if you can actually be by their side and just make sure to have a personable conversation, something like maybe checking on them. Hey, Fong, how are you? I'm so delighted that you're able to attend today's meeting. I hope you're doing well. And it just makes them feel touched that you cared and you remember their name. Not necessarily, I just read his name from the name tag that he has on his picture. But just saying, that's the advantage of going virtual, because nobody needs to wear a name tag and you can show like, oh, I remember you. So that is one of the main important things, that you need to know the motivation language of the people you're interacting with or your club members. This can also be used at work or with your immediate team member or the people who are reporting into you. That will help you know how to interact and make a better team going forward. But I did promise 3 secrets. So motivation was my very first secret. Now it's time for the second secret. The second secret is about the culture. Now you must be wondering, she definitely looks like to be a different culture or community person. Of course, I am not an American born. I have a different skin tone. I definitely have a strong accent and I look different. So maybe she's talking about having all people of the same culture, maybe having all the Americans, maybe having all the Persian people, maybe having all the Indian people, and making sure that your club has only one nationality people. That is called the club culture. Write it in the chat if you agree to what I just said. No answer is a wrong answer. You're welcome to just write it. I'm not going to haunt you back to your kitchen when you'll be having dinner after this. I love this. One culture it is. No, each club has its own culture. Forget it. Diversity is our strength. I am so happy that you all are not taking a nap and still awake and listening to me. When I said club culture, what did I mean? Club culture can be how you interact with people, how inclusive you are of all the members and guests. How much are you willing to connect with your guest as well as with your existing members? It's not that once you got somebody to pay the dues and they started coming regularly, that doesn't mean you stop checking on them, because it wouldn't take one meeting for them to just disappear and never return, and in return do the mouth publicity of how this team operates. So making sure that we are being one culture, we are having diversity and inclusion. Remember, diversity and inclusion are 2 different words. They are not diversity inclusion, they're diversity and inclusion. Being a leader of diversity and inclusion at Bank of America for the global diversity and inclusion effort, I definitely understand the importance of various cultures. They not only get the inclusiveness or diversity in the team, but it also gets diversity, brings diversity in your thought process, in the way you would operate, in the suggestions or new ideas that you would have, or as simple as being able to share each other's culture. I'll give you an example. In my culture, if you call me just by my last name without Miss, Mr., or Mrs., it's an offense. A person can get offended. And unfortunately, my last name is most of the time the first name in this country, Tanna or Tanner. My last name is Tanna, but usually the first name is very common name, which is called Tanner or Tanna. And I've had incidences where people call me Tanna because it was easier to pronounce versus my first name, which is Nehal. Was I offended? No, because I could figure that I'm in a different country, it's different culture. Maybe they don't know what it means. But was I able to share this with people? Yes. I took that opportunity as fun fact or one of the meetings as a chit chat to share this fun fact about my culture. I wasn't trying to tell them that you offended me. I was just trying to tell them something that they were unaware of. And because of not knowing it, they just kept on doing it to other people too. And maybe they, in the process, they offended some people, but not me. So that's the kind of a culture, different culture at one place brings you. It is very important to have diversity and inclusion and a complete support and willingness to be there for all the cultures for real, not just to say it. So far, 2 secrets. Motivation, we have 6 languages of motivation, and that would help us know what's in it for the person and we can serve them better. Culture, knowing the culture, being more inclusive, understanding each other and where they're coming from and how we can meet halfway. And last one, the third secret I have is a blend of everything. That is, greet the guest at the door. And now you're going to wonder, Nehal hasn't updated her presentation. I'm not going to see the guest at the door. It's a virtual meeting. Maybe she forgot to update the presentation. You are wrong. I didn't. When I say you meet the guest at the door, I meant is as soon as the meeting opens and as soon as the host or sergeant at arms let the guest or the members in virtually, that's when you greet them. As soon as I joined this meeting today, Carol, Margaret, and Diana were like, hey, Nehal, so glad to have you. And that was really genuine, the way they said it. So that's how you meet the guest or your members and your members at the door. Sit next to the existing members. What do I mean by that in a virtual setup? This would definitely help you as soon as we go back in the in-person setup, which I hope we do that soon before I get insane and crazy and lose all of my hair. But sitting next to the existing member means that you checking on your existing member, just like I checked on Fong a little bit ago, or maybe just send them a personal message while we are in the meeting in the chat, or maybe just text them after the meeting. I was so glad to see you. Let me know if you have any questions, or let me know if you need any support with your existing Toastmasters goals, or whatever club that is about. Introduce the officers team to all the members. This can be a very good practice. As much as I have been part of Toastmasters meetings, for the most part, not every Toastmasters club does the introduction of all the officers at the beginning or the end of the meeting. Trust me, not every member remembers who is who. And even guests, they have no idea what is what. They don't even know what is VPE, what is VPN. So you have to go ahead and say Vice President of Education or Vice President of Membership and so on. Share the guest packet with the guest. You may wonder how. Email it to them. Send them a welcome email. Email it to them right after the meeting. As soon as the meeting is ending, make sure you have the email drafted ready. Of course, you're going to use the same script, copy, paste, add the presentation or the guest packet, and go ahead and send the email. Making sure that at the end of the meeting, you allow the guests to share how they felt being at your meeting, or if they're no guests, ask 1 or 2 members who have been your recent members who just become a member at your club recently as to if they had any thoughts or how they're feeling so far. Encourage everyone to participate. Sometimes it just takes one push for the person to take the biggest step of their life and then excel from there. You should be that person. Try to be that person to give that little push to make them take the first step towards them excelling at something. And keep in touch. I am a very firm believer of keeping in touch with people. For me, keeping in touch matters a lot, whether it's friends, family, or it's just anybody. So especially when you have your members and guests, it is just a good idea to keep in touch. And don't be Nehal. Don't be Nehal and say, hey, Fong, you attended our meeting 2 times, and Jeanette, you attended 5 times. So are you guys ready to pay? No, that's not a good idea. It's always a good idea to say, Jeanette, thank you for attending. I see that you've been enjoying our meeting since past few weeks. Let me know if I can help you answer any questions to get you closer to making a decision to join our wonderful club. That way you're telling her that, hey, Jeanette, it's time, can you please pay? But you're not telling her like Nehal would say, and I used to be like that, straightforward, just straight shooter, but not anymore. So that's how you go ahead and make a comment. Quick one, motivation, culture, and making sure that you're being there for people, keeping in touch, meeting them at the virtual door, checking on them, and being there for them in every possible way when they need you. When I say being there for them, I'm not asking you to give them money or allow them to borrow money. So don't get me that way. I'm just talking about from the Toastmaster point of view or your club point of view. With that said, I would just leave you with one food for thought. Meeting virtual or in person. Only one thing that changes the approach towards anything. You know what that is? It's your mind. These are the same techniques that I used as a club mentor and a club coach in District 117 last year before pandemic. And I had 2 of my clubs go President Distinguished in 6 months. I was assigned as a club coach because they were not being distinguished in for 6 months. And at the end of 6 months, they were President Distinguished. I'm not trying to say I'm greatest person. All I'm trying to say is these are the same techniques that I used with the newly chartering club. They were struggling with only 5 supporters. And in 2 months, we have 45 members and dying to pay for the whole year membership versus just 6 months. So it's all here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nehal. I can see why you were named District 37 North Carolina Evaluation Contest winner. Great speaker. Thank you very much. Our next speaker tonight is another good friend of ours, is Abhijit Joshi from District 101, newly elected Club Growth Director. Please welcome Abhijit Joshi.
Thank you so much, Carol. Thank you. Thank you. Today, I'm going to share some secrets of mentoring. I've been in Toastmasters for nearly over 2 years, but the one thing which I thoroughly enjoy is mentoring. When I started my Toastmasters journey, I had 2 strong mentors, Dan and Sonia. Both of them really helped me in the first 2 months to set the foundation. Even in my second month, I attended my first contest, which was the evaluation contest. So I was learning at a very rapid rate. And these 2 people set the foundation. And then my another mentor, Dennis Dawson, took everything to the next level. And at the same time, I also was mentoring like over 30 to 40 people. And it was the most rewarding experience. And I want to share what things I've learned and how we can make the difference in people's lives. Let me share my presentation with you all. So today's topic is my 3 secrets of mentoring. After mentoring so many people, I've learned from my mistakes. And I want to share some of those mistakes which have helped me to connect with my mentees in the next time. It's like after, suppose if one relationship failed, but then that experience helped me to make next 10 mentees, the relationship with 10 next mentees successful. So this is the agenda for today. First thing I want to start out with, the first question is why mentor? The second thing, what are the different qualities of the mentors that a mentor should have? The third thing, what are the qualities which mentees should have? Because it's a two-way street. So that's why these two things are important. And then I'll share the 3 secrets of mentoring. The first question, why mentor? Margaret, any question, any answers? Carol, why mentor?
Mentor, I think sometimes you need help.
Yeah.
You get stuck.
Yes, very true. Sometimes we get stuck. Any other answers? Fong, anything from your side? Do you have mentors, Fong?
Yeah, they show you where you can go, and because they've been where you want to be.
Yes, yes, yes. They can help you. You can learn things at a very quick rate. For me, one thing about mentoring is I really enjoy contributing to people's lives. That is my drive, because it's my basic need. Once I contribute to people's life, it makes me happy. The second thing is I owe it to my mentors like Dennis Dawson or Dan Murgett or Sonia Kalashik. They have helped me with the foundation because of what I am today. And I want to do the same thing. I want to give it back to my mentees. As Fong said, it's a growing experience for us. We can learn things at a very rapid rate. It's not only as a mentor, I learn things because I can reinforce those things. Like I'll give you an example. When I started doing evaluations or sharing with my mentees how to do an evaluation, it helped me to understand the key points of how to do an evaluation. So that was a growing experience for me. And the most important thing is it helps us become a better communicator, because then I have to let them know exactly what I'm thinking about and how we can accomplish that. And communication is a two-way street. So my communication has to be precise. The mentee's communication has to be precise also. And finally, the most important thing, it helps us become better leaders, because we are leading our mentees to the next step of their life. So these are some of the reasons for me why I mentor people. What are the mentee qualities we look at? Margaret, any mentee qualities you look at in your mentors?
I love helping people. So people
Yes.
that are willing to listen before
Yes.
they go, no, I can't do that.
Yeah. So I agree with you. Willing to listen is one thing. Any other, Fong, anything? How do you like your mentees?
They need to be people who can hold you accountable and also have achieved the successes that you want to achieve.
Yes, they need to be expert in it. You know, that is important. Yes. Deanna, can you
Abhijit,
type it? Yeah, go ahead.
Deanna said, I have mentored to get help at workplaces and struggled doing in the work.
Yes. And I agree with you, Deanna. It's always good to ask for help. Sometimes if I'm struggling with something, I definitely go out and reach to my mentors, and they really help me to guide it. I was having some difficulties recently, and they have the expertise to help me go through that. So some of the first thing is, as a mentor, I need to be, as a mentor, I need to be available. This is very important. If I'm not available, then, I will not be able to help my mentees. Second thing which I've learned is everyone has a different pace, and I cannot dictate my pace to my mentees. So I have to be patient and just work with their pace. Oh, this is the most important thing. Actually, I'm going to come back to this many, many times, empathy. You know, the one thing I've learned is if I am mentoring someone and if I get upset and if I share my upset, if I share my peace of mind with them rather than my heart, the relationship ends. You know, we are not able to communicate or we are not on the same page and I'm not able to help them to achieve their goal. So empathy is one of the most important things. I have to be respectful. The one thing I've like couple of I'm working with a couple of my mentees. They are sometimes very busy, you know, and I have to respect their schedules. And some of the mentees, their pace is different. So I have to respect what their pace is. Is there anything in the chat, Carol? I cannot see it.
We have Deanna who said, I have empathy, sad inside.
Empathy is very one of the biggest virtues which will help you in your relationships, Diana. Another thing is supportive. We have to support our mentees because when we support our mentees, they get that encouragement, they get that firepower in them to perform at a higher level. As Fong said, my mentor, as a mentor, I need to be knowledgeable. You know, if I don't have the knowledge, then it's better if I pass it to someone else. I'll give you an example in the later slide. Like there was one lady in Kila. I was trying to mentor her, but she wanted to write humorous speeches. But I was not very capable of humor. So, but I had my friend Evelyn. She is phenomenal at humorous speeches. So I connected these two ladies, and they're able to work things out from that. Now I'll come down to mentees qualities because these are very important, and these there are some things which for the connection to occur, there are some things needed in the mentees also. The first thing is eager to learn. Like as a mentee, when um, Dan Murgett or Sonia Klesch were mentoring me, the one thing I was really eager to learn the craft of speech writing or doing an evaluation. That was very helpful. Receptive. This is very important because suppose if I'm giving feedback to my mentee, and if they are not receptive or not able to accept the feedback, then it becomes a tough relationship. So one of the qualities is the mentees need to be receptive. One thing I'm always grateful for is I'm always grateful for my mentors because that changes the dynamics between them. When I show my appreciation, that makes the difference. This is so important because communication. I need to understand what my mentee needs. And if he or she is not able to communicate with me, then I cannot help them to their potential. So communication is very important. Now we'll go through the 3 secrets of mentoring. The first question is, what are the mentor's needs? What are their goals? If I'm not able to understand what their goals are, then I'm not able to help them to what they want. So it's very important to ask them, ask our mentees, what are your goals? What do you want to achieve? Like I have one mentee, he wants to really work on his speeches and he wants to compete at the district level. It makes it easy for me to understand how I can help him to achieve that goal. And there is another mentee who wants to become a leader. Like Priya, she wants to become a leader and I can guide them accordingly. Like, okay, yeah, being an area director can be the first opportunity to try to hone in on your leadership skills. The second thing is once they tell me what they want, can I give them? Because I want to be very honest. If I cannot give them, I want to be very upfront with them. As I told you with the story of Nikhila, she wanted to write humorous speeches. I was not the right person for it. So immediately this is very important. I always connect with myself and see if what they want, can I give them? Like one of my uh, fellow Toastmaster, she wanted to compete at the district level in evaluations. And I was going to mentor her. I had to check with myself, can I do that? And when I knew that I can do that, we were both able to work on it and make things happen. Compatibility. Compatibility is very important. When you first start meeting for the first time, it's always good to gauge how your compatibility is. Are you able to match your wavelengths? Because if your thinking matches, then that relationship is going to be fruitful for the mentee. So please check out the compatibility. Like I will give you an example. There was one of my mentee, Trupti. Um, what we are trying to do is we are working on the speeches, but she was not yet ready to hone in on those skills. So I was able to develop that understanding and really understand what she wants and just cater to what she needs. It's not what I want, it's what she wants. I always have to have the acceptance of where my mentees. Once I have that acceptance, it becomes easy for me to not stay connected or have an attachment to an outcome. So having an acceptance for my mentee is very important. Like I have one mentee, Shika, she's very busy with her job. And because of that, she's not able to work on her Toastmaster skills or speaking skills, but just having that understanding and acceptance, okay, this is what she is and this is what her calling is, that helps us ease that relationship. So the first thing, always understand what your mentees needs are and really hone in on it, understand their goals. Always check with yourself, can you give them? Check the compatibility and always have acceptance for your mentees. The second is, this is one is a very big one for me, is connection. Because the one thing I've learned is if I don't have a connection with my mentee, we cannot do anything. So the first important thing is building a strong connection. And the connection can only be built if we are able to spend time and understand. So spending time is very important. The one thing I do is once a mentee is paired with me, I will schedule a Zoom call with them. We'll really talk in depth. Okay, what do they want? And how can we take our connection to the next level? Once we have a strong connection and we have spent enough time, it helps me to really understand my mentee. Because once we have spent time, we are able to both understand each other and we have good ideas about how each one of us feels and needs. Because once we know that, we are able to create that kind of magic. As I told you, empathy is one of the most important things. If I've made some mistakes, one of my mentee was very busy and she was just putting off her speech 1 month after second month. And I was a little bit disappointed. And I kind of told her, like, if you don't give speeches, this is not going to help you. I was not empathizing with what her situation was. And she did not stay in Toastmasters for very long. So remember, always, always, always empathize with their situation. Once you're able to empathize it, you are going to create a strong bond of camaraderie and friendship. And when this happens, you are in sync. And when you are in sync, you can make things happen. And I'll show you how you can make things happen. We'll go on to the secret number 3. But before that, the first thing I want to go through, secret number 1, understand what are your mentees' needs, accept them, check out the compatibility, check out their goals, and make sure you are able to meet their goals. The second thing, connection. Develop the connection, spend time with them, empathize with their situation, understand them, and develop a strong bond or friendship. And finally, secret number 3. Who has seen this 2014 speech? Anyone? Dhananjay's speech? Okay, perfect. Perfect. It's one of the best speeches. Like, wow, I see something in you. Like when I'm working with some of my mentees, like sometimes I can feel them, what they can be capable of. And if I feel them, I'll share with them. It's like, oh, wow, you can do this. And for when that happens, we can create some magic. Like I'll give you an example. Renee, one of my mentees, she was going through, we had the club contest. I came in first in the evaluation contest. She came in second, but I knew she was really good at evaluations, better than me. I was able to compete from a different club, and she was able to compete at the next level. She won all the 3 levels. We practiced a lot. We went through 18 semifinal speeches just to hone in on her evaluation skills. And when she went to the district level, she was one of the best evaluators. So that makes the difference. Like when you can see something in them, let them know, encourage them. When you encourage them, they are ready to go through that extra mile and make that difference in their lives. Always be there to support them. Support is the key. It doesn't matter what they're going through. If you can support them, like one of my fellow mentees, she's having a very rough time with what is happening at work. And when I was able to support her, that really encouraged her and brought her back to the Toastmasters. She was also able to give her speech today. She was gone for like 6 weeks. So supporting them makes a huge difference. Always be a cheerleader. No matter what, always help them be a cheerleader. Help them achieve that success they have never dreamed of. So that is very important, being a cheerleader. Like I was working with one of my fellow mentee, and he was going through the district speaking competition. So you really work with them, cheerlead them, because sometimes things are not always rosy. Sometimes things are down. So we have to work with them. When you are able to cheerlead them on that days, that makes the difference. And finally, questions, anything? Any questions from anyone? Janet, any questions from you?
Who did that speech? I see something in you.
Dhananjaya.
Can you spell it out?
Yes, I will type it out. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, and I'll also put a YouTube link after this workshop. Ray, any questions, anything?
Excellent. Thank you, Abhijit. And we will
Thank
be
you.
having questions. I see Jason coming on for a question. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, I just got a quick question. Excellent presentation, by the way. I guess one of the things that I've been struggling to balance is time, like having enough time to help out, I guess, different members of our club. You mentioned, you have like over like 40 mentees or something. Like, I'm just wondering, how do you manage your time in light of the other things that are occurring in your life?
Yes. So what happens is when I'm paired with a mentee, I spend some time in the initial time. So I'll have Zoom calls maybe for first 3 weeks. Once we have built a connection, then we are in sync. And then we don't they will send me the speeches for review. I'll review their speeches, give feedback to them. Then they will send me the video. I'll review the video. I'll give it back to them. So then it becomes more virtual. And we don't have to spend that much time on the call. We can take a quick call. I can give them feedback. They'll work on it. They'll send me again. So it's a lot of back and forth. So after I spend initial time, have a strong connection, then it becomes smoother. We don't have to spend that much of time, and we are very precise on what our focus is. And the one thing, Jason, I've learned is I'm able to learn something from every member. So it really enriches me. It's like it takes both of us to the next level. Carol, you're muted. You're muted.
Thank you, Abhijit. We will have a question and answer session after Fong's session, but right now we're going to go to our breakout rooms. Welcome. Thank you, everybody. Welcome back from our breakout sessions. Our third speaker tonight, I am pleased to introduce Fong Chua. Please welcome Fong.
Awesome. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. First of all, thank you, Carol, for having me back. It's always a joy to add value and impact as many people as I can. And I love seeing your smiling faces. And thank you for turning on your cameras. Awesome. So first of all, I'm going to ask a few questions. Number one, is everybody here on screen Toastmasters people? Yes? Awesome. Great, great. How many people here have their own businesses? Okay. How many people here have a job that they love, but they would like to excel and showcase what kind of great professional they are? Now, when it comes to your club, have you ever experienced people not wanting to renew their membership? Or people who are saying, hey, I finished my DTM, there's nothing left for me. Okay, I see Nehal's her face going, oh yeah, get that a lot. Well, one thing I found that has helped out a lot when it comes to using Toastmasters is really showcasing how Toastmasters can be a tool for everyone, not the other way around. We should be showcasing how you can use Toastmasters to complement your business or complement your profession, okay? As I was sharing to my breakout room just earlier here, a lot of cases, we're looking at those projects, we're looking at the levels, we're looking at the pathways and go, okay, I need to prepare this, I need to do this, I need to do that. But what I recommend is look in your own personal development in professional career or in your business and go, what do I need to do? Do I need to market my company more? Do I need to get more exposure for my business? And if I do, how do I do that? Focus on that and then look at your Toastmaster stuff and go, which boxes can I check off? Okay, by doing it that way, you're utilizing the Toastmasters format as a tool to complement everything else so that when you're doing all that other stuff that helps you, you're just checking off boxes for Toastmasters. Now, I found this out personally because I'm a business strategist, real estate coach, I'm a speaker, I'm a best-selling author, and every step of the way, I found that hey, Toastmasters actually helped me every step of the way without me really knowing it. It's just that I was focusing on all my other stuff and I was looking at, oh, look, I could check this speech off. Oh, look, I could take care of this project. Oh, I could do this. So if you do it that way, it makes it more motivating for you to actually complete tasks and also watch your own personal development and your business grow. So one thing is, when you go into Toastmasters, a lot of us go into it by thinking, I want to become a better speaker. I was one of those people who was always in the back of the room. I don't want to network. I don't want to talk to anybody. In fact, I was so shy that I would just sit back and pretend that I'm not there. Okay? So the person that you see right now has been transformed since 10 years ago. This is not who I was. Okay? Now, the reason why I picked Toastmasters was because I just paid to become a real estate investor. I went through a program and go, I want to become a real estate investor. I want to become a business person. But if I don't speak and I don't connect with people well, I'm not going to be successful at all. And that's why I signed up for Toastmasters. Now, during my time in Toastmasters, all I did was do speeches on real estate. I did speeches on business. I did speeches on mindset. I did speeches on inspiration and motivation and all that stuff. So I had a whole repertoire, library of speeches that are 5 to 10 minutes long. That's all about my personal experience in all those aspects. Okay. Fast forward a few more years later, one of my coaches go, Fong, I think it's time for you to speak on stage. I'm like, oh, really? Well, how long do you want me to speak for? 10 minutes? 20 minutes? 30 minutes? And he goes, no, I want you to speak for 2 hours. I'm like, 2 hours? Wait a minute, what kind of event is this? He goes, well, it's my event. I have about 150 people coming and they're all paying about $250 to $500 a ticket to be at this event. the first thing that came into my mind was, I can't do this. This is not good, because they pay to listen to you speak, not listen to me speak. And then the first thing he said was, well, why not? You do Toastmasters. I'm like, yeah, that's true. However, in Toastmasters, everybody's stuck in the room. Whether they like my topic or not, they can't leave. Secondly, they did not pay for it. And therefore, I could talk about anything I want and I don't care. He goes, well, first of all, what have you been speaking about in all these speeches? I go, well, I've been doing mindset and real estate and businesses. He goes, perfect. Well, how many speeches do you have? I'm like, I don't know, 15, 20. There you go. Put them all together. There's your 2 hours. And sure enough, I went back to all my speeches, transferred them all into a PowerPoint form with images and stuff. And that's how I did my first 2-hour speech. Fast forward a few more years later, I've been doing lots of breakout sessions, webinars. To a few years ago, I spoke on stage with Kevin Harrington as a panel. Just 2 years ago, right before the 2019, I was on this stage right here in LA in front of 2,500 people talking about mindset for business entrepreneurs. And also right before COVID hit, I was on stage in Edmonton for the Power of Success, where Arnold Schwarzenegger spoke in front of 4,000 people. And I love it because now I get to connect with more and more people, and they come to me asking me for photos, asking me for advice, or connecting with me. So speaking is powerful, as everybody knows. Second thing is events. If you're in the coaching realm, if you're in a business where you need to promote yourself, and as Carol knows, create events. You get to go and host events. That puts you as the forefront, as the person, as a great credibility tool by having events. So as air director, we all know we had to do, those breakout sessions. We had to do COT training. We had to do speech contests and whatnot. So I basically used those speech contests to prep myself to become a better host and an MC. Because then I signed up to become an MC for a fundraiser, for charity events. And I practiced that exact same intro at Toastmasters, at the speech contest, until I went on this stage and I did the same intro. Because I knew that I could get the same kind of engagement because I've done it in the past, using Toastmasters as a tool for me to practice the exact same intro for engagement. And I knew how to tweak it, and I knew how I can change it if I don't get the same reaction, because I've done it so many times within Toastmasters. Third thing is videos. Who here is scared of doing videos online? Anybody? Okay, I see a few hands. I could tell you that doing videos online was one of the biggest and most toughest things that I had to get through. Okay, I had this mindset where once I turn on the camera, looking at the camera, I lose my thoughts, I stumble, I forget, and I can't go through them. Okay, now I was challenged by my coach. He goes, I know how to get you through this. Why don't you do one topic a day? Well, the left-minded part of me goes, 365 topics? Wow, that's too much. Then I was part of Mastermind. And that one person said, well, why don't you do one video a week on any topic you want? Oh, wait, by the way, you do Toastmasters, right? I'm like, yeah. Well, how different is that one video a week that's 2 to 3 minutes long, different than a table topics? You do table topics all the time. So once I got that in my head, I basically went, okay, I could do one a week with no problems, because I basically asked myself a table topic before I start filming. No cuts, no edits, you post. So if you ever have a challenge of doing videos online, don't worry about what anybody says. Don't worry about the comments. Just post it and forget it. Okay? After a while, just like myself, I have 500 videos on YouTube right now. And after a while, it will just come naturally. So videos is something that will help you out a lot. And for sure, it will help your business because it gets you exposure and also gets you a wider reach. If you're a professional, let's say an accountant or an engineer, if you do videos about those topics all the time, imagine next time you go for a job interview and go, oh, by the way, check out my YouTube channel. I share about all my experience, share about all the expertise I have on those 2 to 3 minute videos. It's a great way of standing out in front of your peers and showcasing how you are different than your other professionals. Fourth thing is coaching. Okay, Because I'm in the coaching realm, I love being able to help others unlock their potentials and guide them to succeed. But in order to do that, you need to practice. You need to know how to deal with different people. You need to how to handle with different situations. So how do you get that experience? By forcing yourself into the VP Ed scenario. In my club, I work with each and every single one of my club members so that I go through at least the very first part in going, hey, what do you do outside of Toastmasters? How do we incorporate that into your Toastmasters life? And how do we structure all your speeches so that helps you in your business or your professional development? At the end of the year, I do the same thing. I want to make sure that each one of them has the same type of mindset going in and coming out of a Toastmasters session, all right? By practicing with them, I get experience and also reps by working with different people so that when I go out and talk to other people, when I charge for it, I can charge the top dollar because I know I could get results. On top of that, I've interviewed a lot of the members in my club who's gone through my coaching to get testimonials, which again helps my credibility and also my brand when I start showcasing what I do. Next thing is book writing. And this is something I didn't think I was going to do. But as of right now, I'm about to launch my 8th book. I'm a 3-time best-selling author with topics in all different realms, including our very first kids book. With regards to book writing, one thing that my coach told me was that, first of all, lots of people think that, who am I to write a book? Writing a book is too hard. It's going to take too long. And so many of this limiting beliefs. How about that person? He's not going to read my book. She's not going to read my book. Well, here's some magic words that he told me that changed my life forever. Number 1, over the last 100 years, nothing new has been written, but your voice hasn't been heard. Now, I may or may not be able to reach the people that you speak to or that listens to you. And therefore, every single moment that you're not writing your book is every single moment that you're depriving those people from your message. That changed my life, number 1. Number 2, the person who's not going to read your book, don't worry about it. They're not your clientele. Who am I to write a book? Well, first of all, everybody here are speakers. You all speak on different platforms and on Toastmasters. Who are you to speak? If you're willing to stand up on stage to speak, then how is that different than writing a book and putting it out there? Then the third thing that changed my life was, wait a minute, you do speeches at Toastmasters, right? I'm like, yes. Well, how many speeches have you written? I don't know, 20, 30? Well, 10 of them equals one book. You already have 10 chapters of a book. And sure enough, if you structure all your speeches throughout your Toastmasters career in one main theme, if you put 10, 15 speeches together, you already have a book done. You just have to put a cover on it, send it to print, and you're becoming an author. So that changed my life. That's basically how I released my first book. And then my 4th book, I was actually challenged by somebody, how fast can you finish a book? And I said, probably in 1 month. Why? Because I just finished doing the professional speaker's manual where you're required to do a 20 to 30 minute presentation in your club. I took that 20 to 30 minute presentation, took it out, put a cover on it. I have a 75-page book that I published. So it's really not that hard. So that really changed my life. I'm almost done. I have 2 more things. Asking questions. Asking questions, asking good questions and engaging questions allows you to really get the good answers and build relationships. Now in Toastmasters, we ask questions as table topics masters all the time. Now, how many here has experienced this? You go to your club and all of a sudden your table topics master isn't here, or there's not enough people to fill roles, or you're looking at doing double roles, triple roles. Who's experienced that? I see a lot of head nodding. Well, those are opportunities for you to excel, because being a table topics master on the fly forces you to come up with questions fast and good questions on the run. After doing years of this, I was put to the test. Last year, I had the opportunity to interview the celebrity fitness guru, Jillian Michaels. And they told us, you have 3 questions to ask her. I'm like, okay, we got that memorized, we're all that kind of stuff. But I want to make something different after our three questions. I want to ask her about what's her favorite food, what's her biggest challenges. And then I had 3 other questions that I could ask just for fun. We finished all those questions, and then all of a sudden she goes, hey, that was so much fun. I'm having a great time. Do you have any more? I'm like, yes, of course I have more. But I didn't have anything prepared. So the first thing I came up with was, oh, if you were able to go back in time and bring one item from your success today, what would that item be? Flawless. Why? Because I've asked that question before in table topics, right? So as you train yourself to come up with things fast, you're able to think of other things on the go when you need to. Because I didn't want to miss up on the opportunity to get more information from Jillian Michaels. Finally, embracing virtual space, okay? I was a person that said, I cannot do coaching if it's not in front of a person one-on-one. And I said that many, many times, to the point my wife told me, you have to embrace Zoom, you have to use Skype, you have to use all that stuff. And I go, no, 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 no. You don't understand. I need to see how they feel. I need to see how they act. And I have to be there for it to happen. And she goes, whatever. She ignored me. And then Toastmasters happened and we had to shut down and we were forced to go onto Zoom. Well, guess what? Since I knew this was eventuality that I had to learn this, I made sure that I could maximize my experience on Zoom with Toastmasters. I ran speech contests. I ran the meetings. I've done breakout sessions. I was the Zoom master for other speech contests. I made sure I know how to work it. So then I started launching my podcast where I interviewed different people from all over the world. And it has made a great change in my life because I've been able to connect with people all around the world. I've been able to speak on stages in Australia, in Nigeria, in Singapore, because I embraced this technology. And if it was not for Toastmasters that forced me to do so, I don't know where I would be. To the point where last year, this event behind me was virtual. And therefore, I submitted my presentation virtually to that event. After 30 some days of this event, because it was virtual, there was over 100 speakers that was speaking at the event. I got voted #1 throughout the entire session because I was able to embrace this technology, all thanks again to Toastmasters. So by taking Toastmasters and using it as a tool, not the other way around, using it as a platform for you to practice and maximize all your other stuff, that allows you to be more motivated, that allows other people to see why they still need to continue on, and that also allows you to develop skill sets that you've never dreamed of doing. So that's what I wanted to share. By maximizing Toastmasters to allow you to do everything else that you've always wanted to do. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Fong. I'm going to give everybody a few seconds to just think about some questions. We've had 3 dynamic speakers today who are quite engaging. Before we go into our breakout session, since Danielle was not able to make it due to some, yes, a family emergency, she is scheduled for a one in June. Any questions for our 3 speakers before we go into our breakout? We have Fong, we have Nehal, and we have Abhijeet.
I just have a quick comment, and this is Nehal Tanna, Fong and Abhijit. I learned so much from both of your presentation today. So thank you for educating me on some things, as well as thank you for giving me a timely reminder on the things that I already knew. It was a wonderful presentation, both of you, and I was very delighted to be here.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you, Nehal.
I have a table topics question for Fong.
Okay.
Yeah. What is your top time management tip?
Top time management tip is to find out how to be intentional congruent with everything you do. So one thing, okay, I'll share 2 quick tips. One is with regards to book writing. And one strategy that I tell a lot of my clients when it comes to book writing is how to use that content to fulfill everything else that you always wanted to do. in business, we all realize that we need to use YouTube. We all realize that podcasting is in now, blogging, LinkedIn articles, ebooks, and all kind of stuff. So I usually say this: well, if you can do 10 speeches, record those 10 speeches as videos. Now you have 10 videos. Those 10 videos can go up on your YouTube as 10 separate episodes once a week. So now you have 10 weeks of content for your YouTube channel. What's stopping you from taking that video, extracting the audio, and putting and launching your new podcast? So now you have a podcast that goes up once a week, audio. Well, if you have that, you take the audio, transcribe it, modify it. Now you have a blog that you could put up once a week on your website. You also have a LinkedIn article that you could put up once on your website. But also, once you have all 10 of them done, now you have your ebook done, ebooks done, send it to print. Now you have a book done. Okay. After that's done and your ebook is complete, you can now use the ebook as a lead gen on your website by saying, hey, put your name down and your information. I'll send you a free copy of my ebook. Now you captured their lead. You've accomplished 5, 6 different things by doing one thing, by doing those videos. My second tip with regards to time management is how do you maximize your mental ability to process stuff, okay? I usually share this story where I like reading, I like learning, I like looking at documentaries, but where do you find the time to do all that stuff, okay? If I was told to read a book that's 250 pages long, that would take me about 20 plus hours over a course of 3 months because I can't sit for 20 hours nonstop. So therefore, how do I make that faster? One, I go to audible.com and I get the audiobook. Instantly, you reduce that time to 9 hours. But there's a function in Audible where you increase the speed of the playback to 1.5 to 2 times to 3 times the speed. If I get up to 3 times the speed, I could finish a book in 3 to 4 hours by looking at the pages and listening at the same time. If I wanted to go back, I could always rewind or re-listen the whole thing again. I could retain information faster. Now, if I could do that with an audiobook, what's stopping me from doing that with YouTube videos and also podcasts? Right now, everything on my computer is defaulted at 1.5 times the speed. And sometimes I find that too slow, okay? By doing that, you're gonna train your brain to access information fast, to talk fast, and also to read and listen fast and effective. So those are 2 things I would recommend.
Thank you, Fong.
Oh, also, if I may add, I'm not sure if Carol wants to put something together. I did mention I do help a lot of people with book writing. And I know you have one more session of this later in June, right?
June.
If you wanted to, and you have enough people who's interested, I would be willing to do a 1-hour book webinar to show people step by step how to get their books published and written in 4 months. Okay, it's a 1-hour webinar. So if people want that, talk to Carol. And then if there's enough people who wants to do it, then I'll rearrange something with her as a bonus session.
Perfect. Thank you, Fong. And this is a question that came to me through chat is, how do you get members to stay in Toastmasters if they don't want to do any speeches? How can we motivate them to stay if they just want to use it as a social club?
To each their own.
Abhijit?
I would say to each their own. Everybody has a reason as to what they want to be there for. So if they don't want to do speeches, they find it as a place for them to relax and have fun and meet people. Great on them. And that's one of the powers of being a VP Ed or a coach, is to recognize what's the best scenario for each person, right? You might want to nudge and challenge them a little bit, but if they don't accept it, then you don't push them, right? Then you push the ones who wants to be pushed. Somebody else?
Abhijit?
Sometimes some of these members are good at evaluations. We can learn a lot from their evaluations because they're not interested in speeches, but they're ready for evaluations all the time. So that is the way we can gain their expertise, acknowledge that, and also if we can have some workshops so that they can always increase their knowledge, that can help us to retain them as members for longer period of time.
Perfect. Thank you. Any other questions? Send them to me or just open in the chat. Margaret, you had a question.
I am thinking about accepting the VP of Education role, and I have a lot of information that has been given to me today. I like, Fong, you talked about finding out how they can apply Toastmasters to their real life. And if you have anything else to add that I can help my club members, and Abhijit, I'm sure you have a couple ideas that I could brainstorm, use you as my brainstorming session.
Abhijit, you want to go first?
Sure.
The one thing I really like about Toastmasters, it's a cheap therapy. So sometimes I ask my new mentees or members to bare their soul, share their stories where they have learned something. Because when they share something with that emotion, that passion, it really resonates with the audience. So I'll just ask them to bare their soul. Fong.
So I would usually ask the questions of, first of all, what do you do outside of Toastmasters? And where do you want to improve? And it doesn't necessarily have to be speaking. It could be confidence. It could be building relationships. It could be whatever it is that they come up with. And I find that, for instance, that saying where to learn you teach, to teach you learn, right? If you want to learn how to build relationships, if you want to learn how to listen more effectively, do a speech on that, right? So once you do a speech on that, at least you learn it, and you learn it again as you're doing the speech and you're teaching it, and then you're basically able to apply it right on the spot. And then I usually find ways of how to incorporate the pathways projects into what they're doing, right? So as I mentioned before, if a person is if they want to break out and become a motivational coach, or they want to break out and they're actually, let's say they're a plumber, right? And they want to become a better speaker or a better communicator. I'm like, well, yeah, why don't you do all your speeches on plumbing issues and all that kind of stuff, and what the 10 myths that people don't know about plumbing, right? At the same time, you could get your book published, and then you can use that as a promotional tool for your business, right? And then you open that up so that people don't go, hey, this isn't something I thought about. This is new. Now I'm excited to do it, right? So you try and tweak their excitement level so that they're more engaged.
Thank you, Fong. Jessica, I know you're from up north and you have a smaller club. Was there something that you want to ask the group?
I must shamefully say, I don't have any questions at the moment.
But we are so happy that you're here tonight. Yes,
Thank
Deanna.
you so much for having me.
Deanna, I know you asked the question if you want to be an hour counter and to share a screen. Maybe we can see that later after the meeting. I'd love to see that. Jason, I know your club is struggling and still working towards having speeches. Is there something that you would like to ask Abhijit or Fong to help encourage some of your members?
Ooh, I'll treat that as a table topics question. I guess I can speak from personal experience. Like sometimes I have trouble connecting the content of my speeches with particular pathway projects. And yeah, if you guys have any tips on getting those aligned, and I totally agree with what Fawn has to share there about having alignment in your work. In my case, I'm an engineer, so I would like to be doing my presentations on engineering related stuff, but at the same time, I don't want to like bore the rest of the members. So yeah, it's just. But I guess my question would be, how do you have any tips on connecting the content of your speeches with the pathway projects?
Abhijit?
If I'm doing like emotional intelligence or communication skills, then I sometimes try to use my work examples where I did not do a good job and I want to learn from those mistakes. So I will use that content and try to see, okay, how can I do that same thing better if next time happens? When I give a speech about that, I learned something because I've done some research, and then I have some more tools to be better at that. So that is one of the ways I use my work-related topics in my pathways. Fong?
So I focus a lot on what I want to present versus what the projects tell me. So I usually come up with a topic and a presentation, and then I look at the objectives of the speech and go, do I meet that? Do I meet this? Oh no, let me add a sentence or two to meet that requirement. That may or may not be what Toastmasters like to hear, but that's what I do. The thing is, a lot of the projects are pretty wide open, so you can really talk about anything, right? There's a speech, inspiring speech. Well, make engineering topics inspiring, right? There's one on motivating your team members. Well, make it motivating, right? You just have to be able to make your content fit, right? Now, the three topics, the three projects in level 2, where one is communication style, one is leadership style, and then one is introduction to mentorship. Well, because I do a lot of videos online, I made sure that, hey, how do I make this content fit what I usually put online? So then I talked about communication style. I love looking at different business leaders. So I usually study like Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, and what's their communication style. And I threw that into the speech so I could record it and I could post it into my YouTube channel. Then there's leadership style. Okay, here's the 8 leadership styles that Toastmasters says. Who do I know in the business realm that fits these leadership styles? Then I did a little example of each one and I put that up onto my YouTube channel. So that's how I kind of maneuver and match the content I want to fit Toastmasters.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was a great question. We now have a question from Jessica. How or what is a method to advertise or attract individuals to starting Toastmasters initially within a Zoom?
Initially, what, sorry?
Within Zoom.
Sorry, Carol, I had no idea how to word the question.
Okay.
I'm trying to attract individuals, with my particular club, and I'm sure with many. How do I advertise Toastmasters as an attraction via Zoom? Like I said, I'm not sure how to word that.
So basically, you're trying to get people to come to one of your club meetings through Zoom.
Yes. How do I make that attractive? Because I thought that being able to do it on a computer would be a lot less threatening. I thought it'd be, easier, but
oh, okay.
How
wait.
do I?
Are you trying to attract new members to join? Or
Yes.
Okay. So this might actually fit in with what one of the items that Jason kind of talked about too, getting people to do speeches and all kind of stuff, and also coming into the club. I recommend that create some kind of contest. Okay, it doesn't have to fit with the Toastmaster year. Just make a for fun mock contest, or create an event of experts in a certain topic. So let's say if you wanted to talk about wine, you could advertise on Facebook, LinkedIn, and social media and say, hey, everybody, our club on July 25th is going to have 4 experts talking about different types of wine and why you need to try that wine. Okay, so come out and listen to these 4 experts talk about this wine. Well, those 4 experts are 4 members in your club that's going to research and learn about that wine and then talk about it. It's really just a presentation, right? It could be wine, it could be gaming, it could be comic books, it could be engineering, it could be anything. Like Jason could do a engineering event and have 4 other engineers pick a topic and attract more engineers to listen to these talks, right? So make it an event to attract people to come. And then you might go, oh, next week, this is a topic where we have 4 other people talk about this topic, right? But you just have to build that momentum. And then when it's live, you can actually have the wine there. And then you could do wine tasting and cheese. But anyway.
Jessica, what I did was I had some workshops inviting the finalists from the World Championship of Public Speaking and trying to learn from them. And I was able to draw 60 plus people in the for the meeting. So when you have that many people coming, you can get their email addresses and then they become your prospects for the future.
Thank you both very much for your answers.
Work, though. Okay, it is a lot of work to promote. And just ask Carol. she's been promoting this event again and again and again, and so that she could draw in people to come to this event, right? And for example, we know that if you have 100 people signed up or registered, 20 might show up, right? So you have to account for that. And in the virtual space, it's great because you're not paying for a hotel room, right? So you're not losing out on money. But it's one of those things that you know for sure that not 100 people is going to show up, right?
Jessica, you may have a great concept. We've put on workshops, we've done all the work, and then all of a sudden, there's nobody come. There's no show. And we just have to okay, let's try it again. So we have a lot of people that said, yes, they're coming. And like Fong said, half or a third come. And you just have to work with that because it only takes one, right? It only takes one.
And don't feel discouraged. Okay, even the greats like Tony Robbins and all those people, they sell thousands and thousands of tickets, and people pay, and 10% show up.
Now I want to ask you, Fong, was it my body language that you could hear me thinking that it gets discouraging?
Because the question you asked is very similar to a lot of stuff that we do, at least that I do, that Carol does, and all kinds of stuff, right? So once you ask that question, I know what kind of issues you're going to face as you're pushing that forward. Just like putting videos online, okay? One thing that lots of people think is, well, I'm going to get so many people giving me negative feedback and bombarding me with all these comments. Well, first of all, that's not true. That's just what you're telling yourself. Second of all, if you position it right, the very first video that you post up there, you're going to get so many views and so many comments from people saying, congratulations, great job, I support you, because they're all your friends. After that, nobody watches. Okay? And you can't be discouraged by that because that's just how things go. Until you start building that consistency. You know, make sure you have the video every single week so that you're programmed into people's brains that it's going to be there. Carol has programmed it into her network's brain that each month there's going to be an event, right? So by doing that, people know, oh, I'll go to the next one. Or I've seen this so many times, I will go this time. It's just work.
It's worked for me with respect to what Carol does.
Well, it's that the saying is what, 7 touch points before the person converts.
And on that point, it was something that Mark talked about the first Mars session that we had, that if you work all this, take all this energy to bring people to your club and to bring the members in, if your club isn't ready to handle it, you need to make sure that you assess your club at the same time as well, so that they're embracing the new people and you've got the mentors set up. And it's a whole circle. It's not just bringing the members in. It's what Nehal talked about. It's what Abhijit talked about. It's the mentorship. It's the retention, and it goes back. It's a full circle. Isn't that right? Yeah.
Thank you
Abhijit.
so much, Carol. I love that you said that.
Yeah, just be prepared, because Mark had the open house for 30 people came, and it fell through the wayside. There was nobody, the members talked to themselves and nobody approached the guest, and they weren't really prepared to what to do. Any other questions for our guests? Deanna, yes, I know you're going to show me. I'm going to wait till the end. I haven't forgot about that. Abhijit.
No questions.
Abhijit has really inspired that. What happens with a lot of his clubs is he's talked about the workshops, but one of his key points is the mentorship, is that he does find out why you're here and then try to plan events, workshops, talks, educationals to help those people address why they're here. He hasn't forgotten about them. So as VPE, as Margaret's going into it, the notebook is large because you're taking notes on everybody. It's little Filodex, or that's the old school way of doing it. Mo, do you have any questions?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Okay, welcome back. Excellent. Now, I'm thinking that looking at the time, we're actually sitting about really close to the end of it. Do we still want to go into a breakout session, or did we want to just finish off with this?
Carol, before you find out if people want to go into a breakout session, before I forget, Fong and Abhijit, can we get your contact information if you haven't already given it?
Definitely.
Thank you. Sorry, Carol, for interrupting.
That's okay. Fong's information is all at the back of the workbook under his bio. Abhijit information was not put in there. So in the chat, you will see Abhijit's email and also Nehal email, and talk to them. And if you're interested in the offer that Fong talked about, is how to write a book, please let me know.
Yeah, so it would be a 1-hour session. If anybody wants to jump on, I'll let Carol handle it.
Okay.
This is her show, so I don't want to interfere with that.
Thank you, Fong.
I'm trying to find my email that shows all my stuff, and then I'll post it up on the chat.
Yep, and it's also in the book. I've got all your email, your YouTube, your Facebook, your LinkedIn. It's all on there. Excellent. Janet, you had a question?
I'm fine with skipping the second breakout room. This is I'm sorry I took so long to find your Mars.
And Janet is our member from our club. So thank you for coming, Janet.
Yeah, very much enjoyed it. Yeah, the caliber of the speaking is excellent.
Thank you, everyone.
Wonderful. And that's what this whole Mars project is about. It's about retention, membership, and how those three are closely related. It's mastering mentorship, membership, and retention successfully. Mars. It's taking the skills that, as what Fong talked about in Toastmasters, and how we can transfer them to our workplace, to our soccer team, to our parent council, to church. How can we transfer that information to our own business? And that's what we're learning here. All the sessions are on YouTube. The recordings will be there. Each session will have a workbook to help maintain all the information given. And maybe next time we'll also include Abhijit's email on there. But this is what it's all about, is asking the questions, having the breakout sessions to help problem solve with some of the issues you're currently having in your club. If you have any further information or what you'd like to see in the future, please email me. And all that information is also in the workbook. It has been decided that we will not go into the breakout rooms. We have found this question and answer period very helpful and informative. You're welcome to stay. But as of right now, our session is over. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming.